Let me ask you something that most people never dare to ask out loud. When we say Europe is better than Africa, better at what exactly? Because if we are talking about roads, systems, convenience, sure. But if we are talking about life, real life, the kind that shapes your happiness, your family, your future, then we need to slow down and have a honest conversation. Welcome to this edition of the African Narrative Podcast. When you strip away the stereotypes, the rankings, and the borrowed opinions, you start to see that where life is easiest and where life is richest are not always the same place. Today, I'm breaking down 5 powerful reasons why life in Africa can, in very real ways, be better than life in Europe, especially in the things that matter long term. So, take a deep breath, drop your assumptions, and let's talk honestly. And before we dive in, do me a favor. If conversations like this challenge you, inspire you, or make you think differently, hit that subscribe button, share this video with someone who needs to hear a different perspective. Drop a comment. Your support helps us keep telling the truth boldly. Number 1, let's talk about ownership, because this is where the difference becomes impossible to ignore. In Africa, when you build a house, you are not just building for yourself. You are building a family house. Your children know this house will always be ours. When you pass on, no one asks questions. No one sends a bill. No one tells your children to pay again. The house becomes theirs automatically. Now, compare that with Europe. Even after you have fully paid your mortgage, even after 40 years of hard work, when you die, your children may face inheritance taxes, legal fees, administrative costs, and if they cannot afford those costs, they are forced to sell the house. The same house you already paid for gets paid for again. Ask yourself this: is it really ownership if it ends when you die? In Africa, ownership is generational. In Europe, ownership is often conditional. Now, tell me if you will prefer that system of conditional ownership in Europe to the generational ownership in Africa. Number 2, let's talk about something that affects your mood, your energy, your daily life: the climate. African climate is one of its greatest gifts. Sunshine, warmth, long days, outdoor living. These aren't small things. They shape the rhythm of life. People gather outside, children play in the open. Social life happens naturally, not just on weekends. And sunlight. Sunlight is medicine. It creates energy. It reduces depression. Meanwhile, many European countries endure long winters, short days, and months of cold that can weigh heavily on the mind. Seasonal depression is far more common. People spend more time indoors. Social life slows down. For those who thrive in warmth and light, Africa offers a natural advantage. Africa gives you sunlight, not just on your skin, but in your spirit. Warm mornings, bright afternoons, evenings filled with laughter outside. In Europe, winter can feel like a season that never ends. But in Africa, the sun reminds you every day that life is happening now, that joy is possible, that nature is on your side. Number 3, Now, let's talk about something we almost never talk about: death. Because how a society treats you after you die tells you a lot about how it values you when you were alive. In many parts of Europe, being buried does not mean you are finished paying. Graves are often leased, not owned. They are rented for a fixed period: 10 years, 20 years, sometimes 30 years. When that period expires, your family must continue to pay for that grave to remain yours. If they cannot afford it, if they default, the grave is cleared to make room for another fee-paying body. So even in death, peace is conditional. Resting in peace comes with an invoice. Payment does not automatically stop when life stops. Now compare that with Africa. A grave is exactly that, a place of rest. You pay for burial once, you are buried among your people, and you rest forever. No renewals, no letters, no threat of removal. Death is not monetized into eternity. Rest in peace actually means rest. And then there is an additional point. If you, as an African, come to Europe, it is far cheaper for you to return to Africa alive than dead. Flying yourself back home, one plane ticket. Flying your body back, multiply that cost 15 to 20 times, sometimes more. Why? Because transporting a body involves specialized handling, legal documentation, fees across multiple systems. Ask yourself this question honestly. Could the money it will cost to transport your corpse have been used to build a house, start a business, secure your children's future? Do you really need to leave Africa to create a life worth living? Or could that same money build something permanent at home? If this episode of the African Narrative Podcast challenges something you've never questioned before, share it. Send it to a friend, a sibling, someone in the diaspora, someone back home. Not everyone needs to agree, but everyone deserves to hear or see the other side of the coin. Number four is so depressing, I'm going to spend as little time as possible talking about it. In Africa, community is not optional. You don't need an appointment to visit family. You don't need to schedule friendship. People know you. People show up. If you show up during food, you are obliged to eat with them, even if food is not plenty. If something happens to you, you are not alone. In many parts of Europe, life is efficient, but deeply isolated. People live alone, eat alone, and if you have the misfortune of showing up during food, you are going to stand in the corridor while the other finishes their food. You grow old alone. In many cases, when you die, nobody even knows until the postman raises alarm 6 months later. Loneliness is now so common that European governments treat it as a public health issue. You may struggle economically in Africa, but Africa has not yet lost human closeness, and that is not a small thing. Number 5. Let's talk about food, because this part makes people uncomfortable. Food is culture. Food is health. Food is identity. Across much of Africa, food is still grown and prepared in ways that preserve its natural taste and nutritional value. Vegetables come from local farms. Fruits are picked in season. Meat is often raised in open environment. Meals are cooked fresh. The result? African food tastes like food. Rich, bold, natural, alive. In Europe, food looks perfect. Packaged, preserved, uniform, but much of it is highly processed, filled with additives, designed for shelf life, not health. European industrial farming relies heavily on chemical fertilizers, pesticides, artificial growth enhancers. Scientific research has linked long-term exposure to some of these chemicals with increased health risks like Parkinson's disease, some forms of cancer, lung problems, and so on. In Africa, food still tastes like food. Tomatoes taste like tomatoes. Fruits have real flavor. Meals are cooked fresh, not engineered. Less processed, fewer additives, more natural nutrients. Africa has yet to fully surrender its food system to factories, and that may be one of its greatest hidden strengths. In Europe, the food system is far more industrial. Supermarkets are filled with products that are highly processed, packaged with preservatives. Bread may last a week on the shelf, but only because of additives. This does not mean all European food is toxic, but it does mean much of it is far removed from nature. So, after hearing all this, ask yourself honestly, is better always where the Wi-Fi is strongest or where life feels richest? Africa is not perfect. Europe is certainly not the enemy, but the narrative that one is automatically superior to the other, that needs to be questioned. A better life is not always found where systems are perfect. Sometimes it's found where people still matter, where ownership lasts a lifetime, where sunshine shapes your days, where community replaces loneliness, where food still comes from the earth, and where even in death, dignity is not rented. If this episode of the African Narrative Podcast opened your eyes, challenged your assumptions, or reminded you of the values of home, don't live without taking action. Like the video, leave your thoughts and comments. Share this with someone who needs a new perspective. Subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation. And if you really want to support the channel on a deeper level, get exclusive content, behind the scenes breakdowns, join the channel. Your support helps us keep telling the truth boldly. Thank you for watching. Until the next time, stay curious, stay grounded. My name is Femi Soewu. Take good care of yourself.
I'm a king, yes, I'm a king. I'm a king.